Okay, so some of you are having some issues with graphing, so let's look at this. Now again, if you minimize this, it's going to get kind of tiny, so hitting the plus sign makes it bigger, which will make it easier to graph. All right, and I'm just going to take a screenshot here of so I can write. All right, so on the first one right here, I'm going to do my x and y intercepts. So 0 and 0. If I shove in 0 for x, that goes away, so y must be 6. And let me erase that. And if I go ahead and put 0 for y, divide by 6, that must be 7. Okay, so that's one of my lines. And I'm just going to write that down on a piece of scratch paper here. So 0, 6, and 7, 0. Okay. And then the other one, I'm going to write, okay, so if I put 0 for x, and divide by a -4, that's going to be what, -5. And I'm going to turn that around. So let me erase that guy. If I go ahead and put 0 for y, divide by 5, that's going to be a 4. And again, I don't worry about flipping the signs or anything like that because I'm going to test it with 0, 0. So I'm not solving for y, but I can do that in a little bit, but I don't need to flip the sign. I'm treating them as if they're equations. And I just want to know, I'm just going to test 0, 0 to find out. All right, now you have two other equations there. You have y is trapped between 0 and 4. So remember, the y-axis goes up and down, but when y is stuck at a value, it's a horizontal value. All right, and then we have x is greater than 0. All right, so I have this line, and then those. This is really two lines here because it's trapped in between, and then we have this guy. All right, so I'm going to ditch that. All right, so let's go ahead and graph. All right, so let's do the first one. So I'm going to grab my graphing tool here. Where is it? Okay, so we said what? 6 on the y. So I'm going to put a dot 6 on the y and 7 on the x. Now, that is a dashed line because do you see it can't equal 42. All right, the next one, I'm going to grab a line again. All right, and this is what? 4 on the x. I'm going to put dot 4 on the x, and what was it? -5 on the y. And notice it can't equal it again, so dashed line. Remember, if it can equal it, that's what you normally draw, which is a solid line. That's what you grew up doing your whole life. So obviously, if it can't equal it, that would be logical. It's a dashed line because when it equals, you always draw solid lines. Okay, now let's look at the next one. These can equal. So okay, we're going to have solid lines here. All right, and y is normally goes up and down. So when y is trapped at 0, that's a horizontal line. So I'm right there. Okay, and I'll just put another point so it goes horizontal. And then y is also trapped at 4. So I'm going to grab a line again, 4. All right, and so again, y equals a number is a horizontal because y is stuck at 4. Do you see that? All these values, y is stuck at 4. Here, y is stuck at 0. All right, and then what is my last one? X is greater than 0. Okay, so again, the x-axis goes this way, but when it's x equals, x is stuck there. So then they're there. Okay, so graph the feasibility of the region. Okay, so I want to shade. So let's test 0, 0 here. Let me go back and where's my graphing or my cutting tool here? All right, so let me go back over here. All right, so the first one is saying what? 0 plus 0 is greater than 42. So that's a no. All right, so that's a no. That one's not true. Okay. And then 0 plus 0 is less than 20. So that time it's going to be a yes. 0 is trapped between there and 0 there. Okay. All right. So if we look at our feasibility region here, when we graphed the first one, which was 6 and 7, this guy 0, 0 was a no, right? So I knew I'm shading away from it. Okay. So I'm kind of shading away from it because 0 plus 0 is not greater than 42. And this is the dash line, right? The 6 and 7 line. So I know I'm out here. Okay. So it's either here, here, or here. I have 3 choices, right? So again, let me do my snipping tool again. Let me do a new snip. All right. So is everyone okay? 0, 0 is a no. So on this dash line, all of this stuff over here is all a no because 0, 0 is right here. And this dash line is my 6, 7, and 0 plus 0 is not greater than 42. So I know everything on this side is a no. So right now, do you see how it's between these three? Okay. All right, so let's look at the next one. 0 minus 0 is less than 20, so that's true. Now, which line is that? So that's this guy. And again, I should label these, shouldn't I? Okay, so 5x minus 4y. And again, if I was doing this on my math lab, I'd do it on graph paper first and then graph it on here, or graph it on Desmos or something like that. All right, that's a 4. It doesn't look very good, does it? Okay, so 0 minus 0, that's true. Okay, so that's this line, okay? So I'm going to erase this 0, 0 issue, maybe if I can grab the eraser. So I'm going to grab this guy. Okay, so this time 0, 0 is a yes. Okay, but that just means I go up. It doesn't mean all of this region is a no right now overall. But when I test 0, 0, I'm trying to decide between like this one, and this one, because these guys are all no's, right? Like, and then I guess this guy. These guys are all no's on this side. So when I use this 0, 0, I'm just saying, okay, well, now I'm looking at this line, right? I'm comparing this line and trying to cut the region in there. So 0, 0's on this upper side. So I know it's either here or here. So these guys are not, let me see, these guys are for sure no's. Because do you see how they're not on the 0, 0 side? So they're for that equation. So they're definitely no's. Okay. So now I have it kind of between these two. All right. So 0. So, and again, if you're not sure, pick a number. Do you see how over here it says y has to be between 0 and 4? Okay. So if I pick a number up here, it's not trapped. This is where it's trapped between 0 and 4. Do you see it? If I'm here and here is when I'm trapped between 0 and 4. So like all of this stuff out here, this has to be a no too, because it's not between 0 and 4. So it has to be between 0 and 4. So that looks like it's this region right here, like this triangle. Now, if you're not sure, do you guys get that you could just pick a point in any of these? Like, just try it. So I'm going to pick a point right here because I think that triangle is my feasibility region. So where am I at? I'm at 3? 5, 3. Okay. So I'm thinking 5, 3, that is one of the answers in that region. It wouldn't be a max or min, okay? Oh, and did I not do a dashed line when I was supposed to? Yeah, or did I write it on top? I think that one needs to be a dash. Oh, well, maybe, I don't know. This one needs to be a dash line because over here it can't equal. So yeah, I need to do a dash line. All right, but let me go back and at least test that point. So my point is 5, 3. So shove it into all the equations. So this first one is what? If I sub it in, I get 30 plus 21. Is that greater than 42? And the answer is yeah, that one works. Okay, let's try it in the second one. 5 times 5 is what? 25 minus 12 is what? Is 13 less than 20? Yes, it is. All right, now the next one only cares about y. Is y trapped? Well, 3 is trapped in there. Okay, is 5 greater than 0? Yeah, so you can see that the point 5, 3 meets all 4 requirements over here. So I know that triangle is the right spot. Okay, everything else is a no. This right here is a yes. Okay, but I do need to fix my dash line there. All right, so what I'm going to do is, no, I did not save that. Okay, so I'm going to click on this line and change it to a dash line. Okay, let's double check. Solid line, dashed, dashed. Okay, so where am I going to shade? I'm going to shade right in there. So let me pour it in there. Okay, there we go. All right, and let's check our answer. And yay, I got it right. Okay, so if it were me, again, I would graph this on graph paper personally and then enter the stuff on the computer. It's hard to do it on the computer with the AB thing because you can't write on it, okay? And then here it says the region is bounded, right? Because it's trapped on every side. And so we're good there, right? And there we go. All right. Hopefully that helps you if you're having issues. Again, my advice is draw it on graph paper first and then enter it on the computer. All right. Hopefully that helps. Oh, one other thing, actually, maybe while we're here, we should do this, is if you're one of those people that absolutely loves to solve for y, okay? So say you have, I don't know, whatever, 4x minus 5y less than or equal to, I should probably put a number in there here. Okay, why is my, oh, here we go. So say we get something, see if I can get some, why is it not? All right, let me try some here, sorry. See if we get any, no, that doesn't help with that. Oh, maybe, are we getting any light? Ah, yay, okay, let there be light. All right, so if you're one of those people that you love to solve for y, you have to remember that when you divide by negative, you need to do the opposite. So like, for example, if you have this, technically when you divide by -2, you're introducing an opposite into the problem. And so you have to opposite everything. Now, nobody tells you that in equations because guess what? When you flip an equal sign, it still equals. So it doesn't matter. Like technically you flip it around, but when you flip an equal side around, it's still equal. Okay, so it's kind of like on a teeter-totter, if here's my weight, and I have, 10 pounds is heavier than what? 3 pounds, right? If I have it equal, if I have 10 pounds is equal to 5 plus 5, okay, if I do a negative and I get a -10 and -5 and -5, technically I flip the equal sign around because kind of like my teeter-totter flips around. So here, if I introduce an opposite here, and what was this? 10 was heavier than 3, but if I do opposite, and opposite, suddenly this gets flipped and the whole teeter-totter flips. So suddenly it's like, oh, no, that's not true anymore. -10, and then you make this opposite, you flip this opposite, and then the whole thing kind of flips. That's why when you divide by negative, you got to flip your sign. So if you love to solve for y, okay, and that was drilled into you as a kid, that's fine, but then you have to remember that you're introducing a negative into the problem. So when you do this, you're opposite. This has to opposite, and I do it right away so I don't forget. This has to opposite and opposite because your negatives are the opposite of positives, right? And so like positive numbers get, as you go to the right, they get bigger, but negatives are opposite. As you go to the left, they get smaller. And so it's kind of like you go from being on the rules on this side of the number line to the rules on this. Everything kind of gets flipped a little bit. So then when you solve, you get y greater than or equal to +4/5 x, and then what is that? -4. Okay, and then if you like to graph with this, you can, okay, like using the intercept and rise and run and rise and run and rise and run. But if you divide by negative, you flip. Now, if you multiply or divide by positive, no. But if you multiply or divide by negative, you have to flip the sign. All right, hopefully that helps you a little bit with some graphing. And if you need more help, let me know.